So this is real important that you really move your lymph system, dear, and get that moving, because this will lead to nothing good, and that swelling could lead you into a tumor in the throat. You don't want to go anywhere like that. That's your lymph that's swelling. So get yourself on a fruit fast. I don't care what kind, grape, lemon, I don't care. Work on your fruit levels. Salad once a day maybe, but you want to get this sooner than later. At the same time, if it was me, I would do lymphatic 1 capsules 3 times a day. Three times a day. I'd do a stomach and bowel clean and get that. Make sure you have good bowel movements. 2, I'd get into the kidney capsules, or at least kidney, number 1. Get your kidneys filtering. I recommend 2 kidney formulas on people nowadays because of what we're dealing with. You always want to hit your adrenal glands, which turns on the kidneys, and you want to go that way and really start pulling this out. If you have to, get the GI broom and really start pulling down this gut area and get this mucus to come out. You're going to cough some up, and this could swell a little more yet, so don't freak out. I've been there. I've had that type of swelling. I know exactly what that type of swelling is, and I've seen many, 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 many people with it. They lump everything under diseases and a GERD and all this crap. This is a thing, in my opinion, that you want to deal with. And this goes back to the teeth, goes back to the lymph system in the jaws, in the sinus cavities. This goes to all of that. And you see how that acid mucus chewed up your sinus bone. So absolutely. I mean, you want to turn this around. Kick my parathyroid up if I was you. Kick your parathyroid up to where you make sure and thyroid, make sure both of them are good, so you're utilizing calcium. That way you'll rapidly heal. If you're still in that process, then get the bones formula and do 2 or 3 capsules, I would, 3 times a day, and really start accelerating the power of healing. At the same time, you got to remove all this mucus and acids that are causing these problems and these swellings in you, and then you'll be okay, honey. But really, Jennifer, get yourself focused down that lymph, because this doesn't, to my opinion, this doesn't lead to anything good. And the medical doctors would not see that, by the way. Not their fault. They just don't see it. This is Miss Juicy Kisses. Now, that's a pretty good name. And if I wasn't a man, that's a pretty good name, Miss Juicy Kisses. Hi, Dr. Morris. I've been getting a lot of UTIs. Now, again, the UTIs, this also could be coming from inside the lymph system in your wall of your kidneys, or bladder. That's interstitial. All these levels around the cells are interstitial. So you could have interstitial lymphatic constipation, just what we were talking about, in the wall of the kidney or bladder, and it's burning because they're acids. So they're burning you from that. So really get on the kidney formulas. I'd do probably at least 2, and also start moving my lymph more aggressively, especially within those tissues itself, because in actuality, the kidneys and bladder tissue, they have to filter too. And if the kidneys aren't filtering properly, they don't filter themselves properly, they go down too. That's where you get the polycystic kidney syndromes and all these new names for all these multiple cysts and tumors. Okay, but that's all lymph. And that's what you have to move out of there, and even in the kidney. So I would do that. If I was juicing, I would juice parsley, dandelion green. Definitely get up on the beet bulbs. Use the beet bulbs, even some beet tops if you want, and really go after it in that way. Grape juice, grape juice, grape juice. Take Parasite M too. That'll help with any candida or any fungal problems in that respect. But this is more of an acid lymphatic problem than it is a bacterial problem. Bacteria doesn't cause mucus, they break it down. And I hope that helps you out. But again, you've got to get your kidneys filtering. Remember what's on top of the kidneys, the adrenal glands. Never forget the twins. And the adrenals control it. So the problem is always in the adrenal glands, but that reflects and makes the problem in the kidneys, and the problems in the lymph, and then it just goes on that way. When we look at symptoms, it's like that magician. We're looking at the effect and not the truth or the cause. Same thing. So go down that road, dear, and you'll be fine, Miss Juicy Kisses. Whew. I'm going to have to go eat lunch and take a cold shower. Holy crap. Just kidding. N-E-U-R, I'm sorry, I'm thinking, I got a nervous system out there. N-E-R-O-L-I. Hi, 528. Hello there. Hi, Dr. Morris. Could you please give me your expertise on detoxifying the brain body from exposure to a natural gas leak? Well, you know, these are neurotoxins, so you guys, yeah, that's sad. Well, again, fruit's going to be your best bet in, one, moving any neurotoxicity out of the body and strengthen myelin sheaths if there's any damage to that, and also perk up my adrenal glands. To detoxify means you are going to perk up the adrenal glands, get the kidneys filtering, and clean your lymph system. It's the lymph system that has to clean the body up. I see this in a lot of Amish that was burning kerosene. Whenever you breathe any of these fumes and stuff, these are neurotoxins. Definitely can put a real hurting on you neurologically, create a lot of anxieties, you know, anxiousness, depressions in certain ways, but just that whole isolation thing. So getting your adrenals up, cleaning that body out, and I just go after I was detoxifying. Greens might help you a little bit there as well. You know, I'm not opposed to green juices, but at the same time, I definitely really clean my body out with the fruits. But certainly, going back to the parsleys and the dandelion greens and the beets, absolutely the spinaches, throw kelp in there if you don't mind the taste. Anything like that would be good at detoxifying this out of you. Irish moss is really good. So stuff like that just help clean the body out. But again, these are neurotoxins and can really be devastating on you. So you haven't mentioned anything, but whew. Thanks for the question, guys. Dr. Morris, I plan on, this is Leahcimrac. Dr. Morris, I plan on doing a fruit fast of apples pretty soon for my arachidonastosia genetic retinal condition where cone cells are missing or non-functional. Well, now this, again, this is we've got a formula. What is the name of that? It's got raw eye tissue in it, bilberry in it, it's got all the goodies. You can use my eye wash topically and internally. Go after that, because now you're getting into, again, stagnation of fluids and what takes place, the breaking down of the rods and cones, blah, 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 blah. I haven't mentioned the rods and cones, but you mentioned the cones here, right? Yeah, and even though genetic means a weakness. It's how a cell perceives itself. Well, you can turn that around, but that's not what breaks them down. Cell weakness doesn't break itself down. What makes a cell break down? What makes a cell weaker cells? What deteriorates a cell? You got to go to chemistry. You don't go to genetics, you go to chemistry. What in chemistry genetically weakens or mutates a cell? Acids. Again, don't look at the smoke screen, look at reality and truth. So that's where I would go. I would detoxify him. Well, you can't detoxify just the head, of course, but you want to clean that GI tract up, get your head cleaned up, because you're going to find GI tract problems and sinus problems with this condition. And so you want to get all this cleaned up, get your kidneys online there, get your adrenals up, and start cleaning myself out there. What is the name of that? Can't remember, but they will know here. But it's a good formula with a lot of goodies to help that. That's where a glandular would come in real good, wake up those cells. But and they have raw eye tissue too, you know. Quit it. We harvest eyes out of humans all day long. You know, when I was in the ER and people wouldn't make it, you know, the harvesters would come. Quite interesting to watch them harvest a human body. Does interesting. How that is. And would really like to know what herbs and formulas. Yeah, I would do the eye formulas. Definitely get the upper circulation. Also the blood, the brain and nerve formula, the new one, number 2. So I'd do upper circulation if it was me. I'd do brain and nerve. At the same time, I would do the eye wash topically and internally. I would get this eye formula, Visioplex. It's called Visioplex. It's got raw eye tissue in there. It's got bilberry. It's got a whole line of good stuff. I have bilberry in my eye wash. But all of that is good to help regenerate eye tissue. At the same time, get away from genetics and the thought of that's the problem. Realize that the lymph is the problem. Acids are the problem. That's why the deterioration. If you were born without those cells, then you've got to really get in there and regenerate, and the body will pull that back into place. We've talked a lot about this with people born without. Remember the spinal bifida case I told you, born without L4 and L5, the kidney vertebrae, and in 3 years on raw food she has L4 and L5. Actually, she started having them at 2 years. Also, would be your advice as to what I should do about this condition which I've had since birth. I'm sorry if you already answered. No, don't be. That's a good question, and it's a really interesting situation. I haven't answered this question before. Haven't had that here, really. We don't get everything under the sun here, and even as many years as I've done it, there's always new cases here that I've never heard of or seen. But it shows if you brought this down, the genetic weakness down, that means your mom and dad, somebody's hurting. And maybe don't know it yet or has MACD or something like that. But anyway, same thing in any tissue, no matter where the location is. You always know that the acid side of chemistry and the lymph system are the two culprits in where we see the deterioration. Rarely is it the blood. But there's no question that you want to have adequate and increased blood flow to compromised areas. At the same time, because that's where the magnetics and energies come, at the same time you've got to also remove waste, always. And that's even if you were born with genetic slumbers or cells that didn't even appear. That's when you want to pick up those magnetics, remember this, our body's coming off from blueprints. And these blueprints are in what's called the causal heavens or the causal worlds. These are blueprints. And it's why the phantom limb syndrome, why when you cut off a limb you still feel it. Why would you still feel it if that was all there was just the physical? That isn't all there is. And that's why we can answer a lot of these questions that we've had in the future. Now, what is that? No, we know spiritually, when you know the makeup of creation, it shouldn't offend any spiritual person or any religious belief system, the simple makeup of creation. Man needs to understand that more. Man's just this meany little being that's scared of his own shadow. But use those things and I think you'll do well. Clean the gut, get the kidneys, go down that same road. Good questions, guys. You guys are coming up with some really good questions. This is Green Helper 7. Dr. Morris, when you have us on glandular protocols, is it temporary or permanent? I never use glandulars permanently. I don't use herbs permanently. Permanently. I don't do that. Dr. Morris or anyone else, have you ever seen a case of someone allergic to celery? No, but anything's possible. You know, all this is organic Superman. You know what? Get on your fruits and detoxify that lymph system of yours, and you should be able to go back and use it. I'd probably muscle test it first before I would consume it. Sometimes that'll pre-warn you whether your body really wants it or not, is do a muscle test on you and check that out. But this is all about the lymph system and the toxicities occurred and ingested in one way or another, whether it's through what you eat, for what you drink, what you breathe, or what you put on your skin. So you have to clean all that out. And then once you do, it's like any allergy, it will go totally away because it's just that you've had too much of a chemical that's in whatever you're consuming. And whatever it is, you've reached the plateau and your body can't handle it. It's like sulfa drugs. You've had too many of them, whoop. Thanks for the response to my toenail fungus question. Oh, thank you. This is Organic Superman again. I have a raw food diet and I drink raw organic juices daily. Green juices are my favorite. Good. I like them, but I have to tell you, a good robust fruit juice is my favorite. But I like the green juices. I don't dislike them, not at all. But I wouldn't go running for one, but I would go running for a coconut smoothie or something like that. You betcha. You know, we just got a little 3-month-old in, weighs 10 pounds.